So Gleacy and I were recently hosting a marriage group
Mm-hmm.
where we just have a bunch of different couples or whatever coming together over the topic of marriage, relationships.
Yeah.
And I could remember like a few weeks ago in one of our groups, we were watching this video, and one of the people in the couple was talking about how to improve your relationship, how to improve your marriage. And I remember they said something that kind of resonated with everybody. It hit everybody to the point where we like started coming up with our own analogies of what they were saying. And what they said was, your marriage can never be the best that it can be until you understand that the person you need to fix, the person that you need to worry about improving the most, is the person inside of the circle that you're sitting in. So if you draw a circle around your seat, the person inside that circle is the person that you need to fix, the person you need to worry about the most.
So I thought about like a hula hoop. Okay, think about a hula hoop that you put on the ground, and basically that's who you need to worry about when you step into that hula hoop. That's what you need to worry about, because we ask a lot of questions and try to engage people and figure out like what they need to work on. And it's real easy for a spouse to point the finger at their spouse, like, oh, he need to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And like it actually became like a little buzzword in our group, like hula hoop.
Yeah, worry about what's in the hula
hoop. So like hula hoop was like a gentle reminder that we need to be looking inward, and whatever the video or the discussion that we're having, whatever is going on with that, you need to be focusing on how that information can be applied to the person in the hula hoop.
Yeah, and so I just think of like visually, like when you're actually hula hooping, like in order for the hula hoop to stay up, in order for the relationship to stay up where it needs to be, you need to do what you're supposed to be doing inside of that circle.
Yeah.
If you're not moving like you're supposed to move, the hula hoop will fall to the ground. If you're not moving in your marriage like you need to be moving, something is going to fall to the ground in your marriage.
Yeah.
Only thing that you can control is what's inside of that circle. And when you start to focus on everything that's happening on the outside of that circle, you lose focus of what it is that you need to be doing to keep it up.
Yeah. So being a great spouse is not easy.
Yeah.
But we are here to give you some tips, some tools to kind of help you out just a little bit.
Yeah. And so when we're talking about, again, what's inside of that circle, ultimately we got to remember that you're not in your marriage to fix your spouse.
Stop trying to fix your spouse.
Yes. You're not there to be their parent. You're not there to be their doctor, their nurse, their lawyer. Like, you're not there to be those things. God didn't put you together for you to piece your spouse together.
Right.
So you have to understand that the only person you can fix is the person staring you back in the mirror. Is the person inside of the circle.
Yeah, and it's important that you're able to recognize those things. Like I said before, it was really easy in our group to apply something to our spouse.
Yeah.
It was really easy to say, oh, you really needed to hear that tonight. But when we use that buzzword of the hula hoop, making sure that you're channeling all that energy, all those thoughts back to the person in the hula hoop, and making sure that, how can I apply that knowledge to me?
Yes. How can I apply it to me? Like, again, you're looking at the reflection, and who can see all of your flaws better than you?
Yeah, you're your worst critic.
Yes. When you're looking at yourself up close and personal in the mirror, you can see that scar from back in the day when you fell down the stairs and you hit your head or whatever, because you know where it is, because it happened to you.
Right.
Like, all of the blemishes, all of the things that we try to cover up, we know they're there. And sometimes we do exactly that. We try to cover them up and hide them away. But ultimately, what would our marriages, what would our relationships be if we decided, instead of covering them up, we're going to start working on them? We're going to start fixing them instead of fixing our spouse.
Yeah, that's so good. And I would dare say to take it a step further and make sure that when you're trying to identify those things, that you write them down.
Yeah.
Like, don't just say, oh yeah, I can have a bad attitude when I wake up in the morning, and then that's it. Okay, you have a bad attitude in the morning, so what are you going to do to fix it?
Yeah.
How are you going to fix that bad attitude in the morning? Do you need to get up earlier and put on some music?
Hmm.
Or do your alarm need to be like that special song that makes you just feel good inside? Or, I don't know what it is. I don't mind getting up in the morning, but whatever your issue is, how are you going to fix it?
Yeah, and I like that you talked in the group, and I would love for you to bring it to our audience too, like the action plan,
Yeah,
like
so
taking the action step to address that particular thing.
yeah, so it's not enough to just identify what the problem is. Like, same way as a nurse, like if I have a patient that has high blood pressure, it's not enough to just
Yeah.
know that I have high blood pressure. It's what are you going to do? Okay, I have to start dieting, or not dieting, but like change my diet, have more fruits and vegetables, more grains. I need to exercise a little bit more. I need to lose some weight. I need to be in a less stressful environment. Like that's your action step. That's your action plan. So as you're sitting and reflecting about the things that you need to improve on, that's how you come up with your action plan. Like, what am I going to do to become a better version of
Yeah.
myself?
And the great thing about having that spouse that's not trying to fix you is they are there to be
Right.
your partner.
Yeah.
They are there to help hold you accountable. So when you identify the thing that you want to fix and you identify the action plan, now you share that with your partner. You
Mhm.
share that with your spouse. This is what I want to do to address this. And can you help hold me accountable?
Oh, that's so
And that
good.
way you make sure that, again, you're worried about what's inside of that hula hoop, but now your spouse can help you keep it
Yeah,
up.
and just think of how crazy it will be when both of you are trying to work on different things.
Yeah.
Both of you have your list of things that you want to work on, your action plan, and then you're holding each other accountable. You can, like, babe, you really killed it on X, Y, and Z. Like, I know this is something you wanted to work on, and you're doing a really good job at it. Like, just think of how that type of encouragement helps to create that emotional intimacy and that growth between each
Yeah.
other, because you can see each other working towards a common goal, or like becoming the best versions of yourself.
Yeah. And you can even have your own coworkers. You can walk up to your spouse, babe, you really keeping that hula hoop going right now. Like,
Yeah.
it was down at your knees last week, but now it's up. You got it you're twirling it on your arms, like
Yeah.
you moving. Like,
Yeah, and sometimes your spouse can serve as like a reminder, be like, hey, don't get weary, don't get tired.
yeah.
I know it's a lot trying to change. Like, we go back to our default. Like, it's
Yes.
so easy to fall back into your old habits when you're trying, but having your spouse walking alongside you, like, hey, don't get tired. Like, I see you putting in the work. You're doing an amazing job. Like, keep it up. It's so good to have that camaraderie with your spouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, a great thing about that accountability and helping each other out and helping each other keep that hula hoop up. I'll keep going back to the hula hoop. But again, in the process of becoming that better person, a better version of yourself, healing starts to happen.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things you can do for self to improve your marriage, to help your marriage, is to heal those things that were once open wounds, that were once triggers of your own.
Man, triggers.
Yes.
When you sit down and you think about why something is a trigger for you, like, oh my goodness. Like, I realized some of my triggers. So we recently did like our vision retreat, and our vision retreat, in doing it, exposed some triggers for me that I didn't even realize were triggers until we actually talk about it. And it was so crazy how it unfolded, because like it was like instant like friction. Like, it was, I don't even know what happened. And it was so crazy, because it's like we were fine and then we weren't. And I was just like, what in the world happened? And I think we had to stop talking about it that day. Like, we couldn't touch it anymore. It was like a hot topic. We just had to move past it. And the next day, I got up and I did some prayer, I did some meditation. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that's why that bothered me so much. And it was so freeing to identify what that trigger was, share that trigger with you, and to be able to move past it.
See, and I just go back to how we were mentioning it in the beginning of the things that you need to work on. Like, you know what you need to work on because you look yourself in the mirror every day. And because we sometimes cover up those old wounds, those things that have happened to us in our past, we can actually forget that they're there.
Yeah.
Until something happens to reveal that scar, that wound that never healed, but we just kept covering it up. We kept putting makeup on it. We kept
put a Band-Aid
yes,
on it.
putting bandages, and we got so used to wearing that bandage that we forgot that when exposed, there's some healing that needs to take place because it never actually healed itself. It never actually got exposed to the air that it needed to get back to where it needed to be.
Yeah.
And until something happens in your relationship that touches that wound again, sometimes we forget it's there. And so it's not your spouse that's triggering you. It's that wound was exposed to the air for the very first time in a long time because it's been covered up.
Yeah.
And once you expose it, the answer is not to say, don't ever touch that wound again. The answer is to say, what do I need to do to help bring some healing to that wound?
That's so good.
And that's what had to happen for us.
Yeah.
It had to be exposed to some air. And again, it wasn't great in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because when somebody touched that wound, like, it hurt, you jump.
Yeah, it hurt.
And once that starts to happen and you start to realize, like, wait a minute, I forgot all about this wound. I forgot all about this scar. Let me remember what happened to give it to me. And now let me think about what do I need to do to bring some healing to it.
Yeah, and it was so funny because I was reminded of a verse where it talked about like confess your sins to God to be saved, to be forgiven.
Yeah.
Confess your sins to man to be healed.
Yes.
And because at first, like when I was out doing my meditation and I figured out what happened, immediately what I wanted to do once again was cover it up. You know, like, oh my gosh, I can't tell him about that. And it felt so good to be like, no, if I ever want to heal from this, I have to share it with somebody. You know, like even if you can't share it with your spouse right away, maybe you need to go to counseling or something.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you need to talk to your family to, you know, help you walk through situations, like whatever it is. You can't keep it to yourself. You're never going to heal from something if you don't share it with somebody that can help you with it. You have to be willing to take that step because you can't heal all on your own.
Absolutely.
It doesn't work that way. So just take a moment right now and just think about a trigger. Like your spouse said something to you and you immediately popped off on them. Like, why did I respond that way? Like, what is that reaction about?
Yeah. And ask yourself, what wound needs to be exposed to some air to bring healing to it?
Yeah.
And that's what happens in counseling. They help you expose all of the things, all of the trauma, all of the wounds that you've gathered along your life, and they help bring it to some fresh air. But then you got to do the work to actually bring the healing to what has been exposed.
Yeah.
And that's what community, that's what relationships, that's what the closeness of husband and wife helps bring about, that healing to those things that have been exposed.
Yeah. And then once you're on that path to healing, think about the life that you want. Think about the relationship, what you want. Get a picture of it and build that picture. Work on it. Don't just say, oh my gosh, I want a great marriage. No. Build that great marriage. I talk to people now, like I have a lot of younger coworkers or even like, you know, other couples in our church, and they look at our relationship now. And before, I used to try to cover up what it was. So this is year 19 for us. 7 years, 5 years of that, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was really rough, but I feel like nobody sees that or nobody saw that. And I think we try to make it our business to share, like, you can't just look at where we are now. Like, it took a lot for us to get here. And you can have those same things, but you have to be willing to build and put in the work and grind and heal your triggers and have these conversations.
But I like what you said, like, get a picture.
Yeah.
you don't know what you're building unless you have a picture of it.
Yeah.
Like, even when you buy something from IKEA or off of Amazon or whatever, typically, whatever it is that you want, you saw a picture of the finished product. Just like we see on Instagram with all these relationships and stuff, we see a picture of the finished product. But we never get the instructions or the manual on how to build that finished product.
Yeah.
We just think that we can wish for it.
Yeah.
Or we have that romanticized view of marriage, and we just think, again, like, if I saw that and that's what I want, that's what God is going to deliver to me. But you have to actually draw it out. You have to actually create the instructions on how it is I'm going to build that finished product that I say I want. And if you don't know how to build it, that's when you got to go to some other couples. You're not mimicking the finished product,
right?
But you can get the tool, you can get the advice, the wisdom on what it took to build that, and apply that.
Yes.
So that you can get the final product that you want, that you can build the picture of your marriage that you have seen, that God has revealed to you. But you have to have a step-by-step, insert A into B, put this screw in, get the hammer, get the screwdriver. You need the step-by-step process as well as the tools to build the life that you want. You can't just wish for it. You can't just romanticize marriage. You can't just say, I saw that, I want that. And when it doesn't turn out that way, because you never mapped it out, because you never had the tools to build it in the first place, now you're saying, well, I must be with the wrong person. And now you just added another trigger and another trauma and another wound to something that had never been healed in the first place.
And we would love to walk alongside you. Book a brag session where we can sit down and talk to you about what you want your marriage to look like, or what you want your future marriage to look like. And we would love to walk alongside you to kind of help you paint that picture.
Yes, because while 5 to 7 years of our marriage looked horrible, it was because we didn't have the picture.
Yeah.
We knew everything that we didn't want our marriage to look like, but we had no idea what we wanted it to look like and then how to build it. And until we got the tools, until we got the vision, which was the manual on how to put together a great marriage, we couldn't get it right.
Yeah, we didn't get it right.
Yeah, we didn't get it right.
Yeah.
But once we had that manual, once we had that vision, once we had that instructions, that step-by-step process, and we started to work that process, and we started to gather the right tools so that we can put it together properly so that it can be built to last, we were headed nowhere fast.
Yeah. So make sure that you lock in. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel, because we want to be part of your journey.
Yes.
You know, we would love for others to learn from the things that we went through. You shouldn't have to learn or, relive the same mistakes. Learn from others' mistakes and apply that wisdom to your marriage.
Yes. Because again, like, building a great marriage is not easy.
Yeah.
But this will help.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. If you made it, just go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Follow us over on Instagram, where we share marriage tips and tricks every single day. Book a brag session, and we'll see you guys in our next video.
Hey, brag on it.